Hello, future biologists. Welcome to your journey through the incredible world of life. Today, we are diving into the Five Kingdom classification and exploring one of its most fascinating, yet often overlooked, kingdoms, Protista. Get ready to uncover the secrets of these microscopic marvels across four exciting levels of learning: easy, medium, hard, and hardest. Let's begin. Ready to meet the simplest, yet most diverse, group of eukaryotes? Let's start with the basics of Kingdom Protista. It's easier than you think. Our first stop is understanding what exactly protists are. Imagine a group of organisms that don't quite fit into the plant, animal, or fungi categories. That's Protista. They're mostly single-celled, but all have a true nucleus, just like our cells. Think of them as the catch-all kingdom, incredibly diverse in their forms and functions. They're found everywhere there's water, from oceans to puddles, and even inside other living things. Truly versatile. Next, let's look at their key features. Remember, protists are eukaryotic, meaning their cells have a nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. While most are unicellular, some form simple colonies. They show incredible variety in how they get food. Some photosynthesize like plants, others eat food like animals, and some absorb nutrients like fungi. For instance, the amoeba moves by changing its shape to engulf food, while Paramecium uses tiny hairs called cilia to swim and feed. Euglena is even more special, having a whip-like tail for movement and the ability to photosynthesize. Time to check your understanding of the basics. Think about these questions. 1. Are protists prokaryotic or eukaryotic? 2. What two characteristics set protists apart from bacteria? And 3. Can you name a protist that uses cilia for movement? Take a moment to recall what we just learned. Now that we've covered the fundamentals, let's go a bit deeper. We'll explore more about their structures, how they move, and their different lifestyles. Protists, though often single-celled, possess surprisingly complex internal structures, including a nucleus, mitochondria, and sometimes even chloroplasts. Their cell walls vary greatly. Some have them, like diatoms, while others, like amoeba, are flexible. Their size range is also remarkable, from microscopic to visible forms, showcasing their incredible adaptability. This diversity in structure allows them to thrive in a vast array of environments and perform various functions, making them vital components of many ecosystems. How do these tiny organisms move around? Protists employ fascinating methods of locomotion. Amoeba uses temporary extensions called pseudopods, literally, false feet, which also help them capture food. Paramecium is covered in thousands of tiny, hair-like cilia that beat in coordinated waves to propel it and sweep food into its oral groove. Euglena, on the other hand, uses a longer, whip-like structure called a flagellum. In terms of nutrition, they're equally diverse. Some are autotrophic, making their own food through photosynthesis like plants. Others are heterotrophic, ingesting food like animals or absorbing nutrients like fungi. And some, like Euglena, are mixotrophic, combining both methods. To simplify their vast diversity, we often group protists based on their similarities to other kingdoms. Animal-like protists, or protozoans, are heterotrophic, lack cell walls, and are often motile, like amoeba and paramecium. Plant-like protists, or algae, are autotrophic with chloroplasts, such as Euglena and diatoms. Fungus-like protists, like slime molds and water molds, are heterotrophic, absorbing nutrients from their environment and often forming spores. Each group plays a unique role in their ecosystems, from being primary producers to decomposers, and even parasites. Let's test your understanding of these deeper concepts. Question 1. How do pseudopods help an amoeba move and eat? 2. What's the main difference between cilia and flagella? 3. Can you give one example of each: an animal-like, plant-like, and fungus-like protist? 4. Why are photosynthetic protists so important for aquatic environments? And 5. What does mixotrophic nutrition mean, and which protist exhibits it? Think carefully about these points. Ready to analyze and connect theories? The hard level will challenge you to think critically about protist evolution, detailed classification, and their impact. Protists are more than just simple organisms, they are evolutionary pioneers. They represent the crucial link between prokaryotes and the complex multicellular life forms we know today: plants, animals, and fungi. Their incredible diversity, from single-cell to simple colonial forms, showcases countless evolutionary experiments. However, classifying them is a huge challenge because they don't form a single, natural group. This means they likely arose from multiple ancestral lines, leading to a paraphyletic group, complicating our efforts to draw clear boundaries. Understanding this diversity is key to appreciating their pivotal role in life's history. Let's break down the major groups with more detail. Plant-like protists include diatoms, with their beautiful silica shells, and dinoflagellates, famous for red tides and bioluminescence. Euglenoids are flexible mixotrophs, and green algae are the ancestors of land plants. Among animal-like protists, we have amoeboids using pseudopods, ciliates with their dual nuclei for complex functions, flagellates like the parasitic Trypanosoma, and sporozoans such as Plasmodium, the cause of malaria, known for their intricate life cycles. Fungus-like protists include slime molds, which can form large feeding masses, and water molds, whose cellulose cell walls distinguish them from true fungi. Each group highlights unique adaptations. Protists reproduce both asexually, primarily through binary fission for rapid population growth, and sexually, which introduces genetic variation crucial for adaptation. This flexibility allows them to thrive in changing environments. However, many protists are also significant pathogens. Plasmodium causes malaria, a devastating disease transmitted by mosquitoes. Trypanosoma leads to sleeping sickness, spread by tsetse flies. Giardia causes severe intestinal infections from contaminated water, and Entamoeba histolytica is responsible for amoebic dysentery. Understanding their complex life cycles and reproductive strategies is vital for controlling these widespread diseases and protecting human health. Now for the hard-level questions. 1. Why is Protista considered a catch-all or paraphyletic group? 2. Describe diatom's unique structure and its ecological impact. 3. Compare the macronucleus and micronucleus in Paramecium. 4. Outline a typical sporozoan life cycle. 5. How do water molds differ from true fungi? 6. What's the evolutionary importance of protists for multicellularity? And 7. Name 2 human diseases caused by protists and their agents. Take your time to formulate comprehensive answers. Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll delve into competitive depth, scientific theories, and even engineering insights, pushing your understanding of Protista to its limits. Our understanding of protist origins is deeply rooted in the endosymbiotic theory. This theory explains how mitochondria and chloroplasts, vital organelles, evolved from ancient free-living bacteria that were engulfed by ancestral eukaryotic cells. This primary endosymbiosis was a monumental step. But the story doesn't end there. Many photosynthetic protists acquired their chloroplasts through secondary endosymbiosis, where a eukaryotic cell engulfed another eukaryote that already had a chloroplast. Some even underwent tertiary endosymbiosis. This complex history of sequential engulfments explains the incredible diversity and multiple membrane layers around plastids we see in various protist lineages, highlighting their pivotal role in eukaryotic evolution. Protists exhibit truly advanced cellular mechanisms. Consider the contractile vacuole in freshwater protists. It's not just a simple pump, but a sophisticated osmoregulatory system that actively expels excess water to prevent the cell from bursting, a vital adaptation for survival. Some ciliates possess trichocysts, specialized organelles that rapidly discharge filaments for defense or prey capture. Furthermore, many protists have sophisticated photoreception, like the eye spots in Euglena or the complex osloids in dinoflagellates, allowing them to sense light and optimize photosynthesis or navigation. Their ability to form dormant cysts under stress and the intricate biomineralization seen in diatom's silica shells are testaments to their remarkable adaptive capabilities and cellular engineering. The traditional classification of Protista, based on morphology, has been revolutionized by molecular phylogeny. DNA sequencing has revealed that Protista is not a natural, monophyletic group, but rather a polyphyletic assemblage of diverse lineages that don't share a single immediate common ancestor. This means the kingdom Protista is an artificial grouping. Scientists now categorize protists into supergroups like Archaeplastida, Cerclade, Excavata, Amoebozoa, and Opisthokonta, based on genetic relationships. However, the precise relationships among these supergroups and the very root of the eukaryotic tree remain subjects of intense research and debate, constantly challenging and refining our understanding of eukaryotic evolution and diversity. Protists are ecological powerhouses. Photosynthetic protists, particularly phytoplankton like diatoms and dinoflagellates, are responsible for nearly half of Earth's primary production and oxygen generation, forming the base of almost all aquatic food webs. They play a critical role in the global carbon cycle, absorbing vast amounts of atmospheric CO2 and sequestering it in deep ocean sediments through the biological pump, directly influencing global climate. Heterotrophic protists act as vital links, grazing on phytoplankton and transferring energy up the food chain. Their collective activities in nutrient cycling and forming marine snow demonstrate their profound impact on planetary biogeochemistry and the overall health of our planet. Alright, for our first 5 hardest questions, 1. Explain secondary endosymbiosis and give a protist example. 2. Describe the contractile vacuole's function and osmotic principle. 3. Critically analyze why Protista is polyphyletic and how molecular phylogeny changed classification. 4. Discuss photosynthetic protists' role in the global carbon cycle and climate. 5. Suggest to bio-inspired engineering applications from protist features. Think deeply and connect concepts. And for our remaining 5 hardest questions, 6. Explain antigenic variations' adaptive significance in parasitic protists like Trypanosoma and Plasmodium. 7. Compare cell wall composition of diatoms, water moles, and true fungi, noting evolutionary implications. 8. How do Plasmodium and Giardia life cycles show different parasitic strategies? 9. Investigate ecological consequences of harmful algal blooms from dinoflagellates. And 10. Propose a hypothetical protist with novel biomineralization and its industrial application. These questions demand critical thinking and synthesis across various biological domains. And that wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating kingdom Protista. From the simplest basics to the most complex evolutionary theories and engineering insights, you've explored the world of these microscopic shapeshifters. Keep questioning, keep learning. For more such engaging and in-depth educational content, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for your continuous learning journey. See you in the next chapter.